Hello, Chaz here, and in this video we're going to be looking at migrating from a hard disk drive to a solid state drive. We'll do it in several stages. The first stage we'll look at the speed it takes to start up a Windows device on a laptop which still uses a hard disk drive. Then we'll show the migration process and the necessary components required. And after that we'll then show fitting the replacement drive in place of the hard disk drive, and lastly we'll show the improved startup time for the solid state drive on the laptop. Certain parts of this process will take time, which in order to facilitate ease of viewing we will speed this sections up. So let's start by pressing the power button and the timer on our phone here, and this should show how long it takes for a standard Windows based laptop to start up using a hard disk drive. And you'll see that it's taking quite a while at the moment, so we're speeding this particular section up, and we'll come back to it as soon as it's reached the conclusion. There we are, and we are now logging in. So that took about 1 minute and 10 seconds for a reasonable laptop to start up and be fully up and running, so that we can log in. And once we've actually gone through the login process and every background process is started up, it's about 1 minute and 28 seconds altogether. Hopefully we can improve on this with the solid state drive replacement. Okay, so with the Windows PC fully loaded up, let's have a look at the bits and pieces that we need to be able to do the migration. So we'll start off by looking at an external device which I use. It's an adapter that allows me to connect various drives directly to a USB port on a computer. It comes, it's quite old and I've had it for a while, and it comes with an adapter for mains down to drive power levels. So I've put a SATA adapter connector on there, which should plug into the wide socket on the SATA SSD, and we'll plug that into mains. And then we've got the main adapter itself, which has got a smaller SATA adapter, plugs into that, and then the red wire plugs into the smaller SATA slot socket on the drive. And then finally that plugs into the USB port on the computer. A little bit of a tangle there because I'm getting into a very tight space, as it were, on the bench to try and get this all in shot. Next we use a Windows-based program called Acronis True Image, and this is the rescue disk that you can make up if you've got the Acronis software, and you can build a rescue disk from it either onto a CD, DVD or a USB drive. So we'll shut down this computer. And once it's shut down, we'll reboot it into startup mode that we can use for the Acronis True drive. Now the way to do that is by, when you restart a computer, you have to force it into a drive select mode, and different computers have different methods. So once you hit power, you hit one of the F keys or the delete key, depending on the computer. You may have to look in your manual for that. So in this particular one it's either 8 or 9. So here I am just dabbing one of those two. We should see a message pop up on the screen, and that will then tell us which mode we can go into, and on the screen we can select F12 to choose a temporary startup device. So we press F12, and then we'll get a list of the devices. So we've got the ATA drive, the CD drive, and we've got the USB drive, and we've got two there because obviously we've got the Patriot burst drive, that's the new SSD, and the generic USB drive. So we selected the generic USB drive, and we've now got Acronis True Image starting up. So we select the top one there, Acronis True Image. There is a 64-bit version, but I prefer to use the 32-bit. It just seems to, I don't know, it seems to run a little bit more smoothly. Don't seem to get any errors with it, but we do with the 64-bit version. So I don't know why that is, but I've always stuck with the 32-bit version. So it starts up, and you'll get a main option screen. And on this main option screen down at the bottom, we've got tools and options. So we select that, click on it, and then we select clone disk. So we select clone disk, and we've got two options, automate or manual. Always select automate, it's dead simple. We then select the source disk, so that will be disk 1, but you've got all the disks there, so it's already identified all the disks that are available. So we select the source disk, and now it's just scanning the disk and checking for the corrections or errors that it may need to make, and this can take a little while. It's usually pretty quick, and it will come up then with a selection of target disks. So here we are with a selection of two disks. That's the USB drive and the solid state drive. Solid state drive disk 2 and USB drive disk 3. So disk 2 is what we want, and that's 120 gigabyte solid state drive, and it shows 111 on the screen there. So once we're okay with that, we then click next. And we then get a prompt to say, are you okay to erase everything that's on the target drive? Once you are, you click OK, and away it goes. Okay, so we sped that little bit up, and that should now be getting us to the end, and we should see that the whole cloning process has completed. There we go. So now we've shut down the whole computer by closing the application and powering off the computer, and now we'll look at how we actually replace the solid state drive. So first off, unplug the drive, unplug the Acronis drive, pop that somewhere safe, disconnect the actual drive from my adapter, etc., and put that off to one side. So the next thing we've got to do is to prepare our workstation for replacing the solid state drive. Now I always work on a earthed anti-static mat, and when I'm going to go inside a computer, I always put my anti-static wristband on there, which basically just prevents any static build-up that's in my body going into the drive or into the computer and generating lots of sparks. Not that it's ever happened, but better safe than sorry is all I can say. Unplug the power and flip the whole unit over, and we can luckily with this ThinkPad get at the bottom connections quite easily. All we need is a screwdriver for the two screws and a little tray to hold it in, and of course take the battery out first. So a couple of little clips, and pull the battery out, pop that over there, and two screws at the back. Nope, we don't have to touch the ones in the middle. So just that one and that one. And the whole lot slides off, the whole base cover slides off, which is very, very handy for this demonstration, which is why I chose it. But obviously there are a lot more difficult laptops to get into, some of which you have to virtually break apart with spudgers and so on. Now the hard drive is hidden under the silver foil that you can see there. So to get this out, we have to take one screw, and there's a whole caddy which comes out. And in this particular unit, it's actually a plastic caddy. In some it may be a metal caddy. In some the actual drive may be actually bolted to the metal surface inside the computer. So we're quite lucky in this one. There's 4 little plastic lugs which pop into the screw holes on the side of the drive, and we just pull those out, taking care not to actually break the caddy. So that comes apart quite easily. And we maintain the foil there. Grab the drive, put it in the same orientation. Just double check which way around it goes. There we go. So the big connector is on the one side of it. Pop the little plastic lugs in. Fold it round and lugs in the other side as well. Push it in, make sure it's held firm. Turn the drive over and slot it into the SATA connector. Push it in nice and hard, and then down, and replace the screws in reverse order. So one screw to hold the caddy, and the base cover, pop it down, slide it back to it clicks in place. Nice and firm. There we go. And 2 screws. Magnetic screwdriver, always useful. Don't forget the battery. Put that into place. Flip it over. So you can see it's quite a simple process on an easy to get out laptop, but for some laptops, as I said before, they're not that easy to get into, and you may sometimes need to consult a video on good old YouTube to see where the screws go and where the little clips are and so on, in order to take it apart. And of course, if you don't feel like handling it, well, I'm happy to do it for you. So let's get our timer going again. Handy this little iPhone. It's a little phone I picked up off eBay and repaired. So I'm going to start the timer and the power. ThinkPad logo comes up relatively quickly. Windows logo, little whirly. So we know that the drive is working. Now the first time you start this up, it won't always go straight into Windows. It has to do a little bit of setting up first. It may take a little bit longer than you expect, but there you are, 27 seconds and we're up and running. Just log in. And there we go. Less than a minute and we're up and running using Windows 10 as before on a solid state drive. Much faster. Operations within the drive, within the computer, are also faster. Save and file finding is obviously a lot faster as well. So there we are. Thanks very much for watching this video. And do please subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more. Cheerio for now.